let's go right to your phone calls here. And again, if I sound really negative and dark, it's because the world is getting very dark, is getting very evil. We have to recognize it to avoid it. Just like I told the story a few days ago of what happened this weekend where a car came out of its lane. I looked instinctively, didn't see anything on the curb, drove up just on my wheels up on the curb, but looked about 30 feet down. There was a couple walking with their back to me, and so I made a split-second decision. Okay, I'm going back over into that lane. I'm just going to run into this car if I have to. I'm not going to run these people over. At least that person's in a car. It wasn't even a thought. It was just, oh, God, there's people. I got to go back over. Luckily, that car had gone back into its lane. And so it's not negative to say, oh, my gosh, there are people right there. I don't want to run them over. It's positive to be honest about what was happening, to stop living in denial. And I know I'm stating incredibly obvious things, folks, but we're in trouble, okay? This is beyond anything we've ever seen, and it's going to get a lot worse very fast. The elite think we're so stupid, they're publicly funding al-Qaeda worldwide. Publicly. It's in the news now. And the media reports it in the back of the paper like it's no big deal, like they're reporting on the weather or something. The price of tea in China. I know I said I'd go to your calls. I'm just really freaked out. Because if they get away with all this, I mean, man, it's moving quicker than I thought. Let's go to Jack in FEMA Region 2. I guess that's formerly up there in the Northeast somewhere. What former state are you in?
New York.
Oh, so you're former New York. All right. What's on your mind today, Jack?
Okay. Well, I've been listening to you with horror. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me.
It's okay, brother.
I'm not used to talking on the telephone or on the radio.
Got it.
But I've noticed a few things. I've been listening to you for over 10 years, probably more like 15, 16 years. And I can't no longer afford, unfortunately, to be a member. I've tried, but I live on a fixed income.
Oh, I totally understand, sir. I mean, everything that's on prisonplanet.tv, you get it first there being a member, and it's $5.95 a month. But everything ends up being free on YouTube, InfoWars, and Prison Planet within a day or so. So please, anyone, don't feel obligated to be a prisonplanet.tv member. In fact, I'm going to give you our customer service number. In fact, I'm going to say this right now. I want to create an email and a customer service number code that if people call, we will give you a code. And I'm just going to give you a membership, sir, okay? And anyone else that wants a membership, you just call here, and we will give you one. Okay, so I want to make sure that gets set up, make sure they know, and then we can have original codes we create that we give people. Okay, so go ahead and get to your point, sir.
Okay, a couple things. One thing is, in watching you, I've noticed that you've never commented. I'm sure you know about this, but I've never heard you comment on it. That doesn't mean you haven't, but the IMF and the World Bank and their shenanigans. When I was in college working on my master's degree, which I subsequently gave up when Bush got elected, but because I could see the handwriting on the wall. But anyway, there are what's called structural adjustment programs. And
yeah, that's where they tell a country what to do to get the money, and it's dictatorship. Just stay there. I'll tell folks about it. We're back in 1 minute.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
All right, Jack's calling from FEMA Region 2, formerly New York, now one of the main globalist command bases where gun confiscation has begun. Jack, you were bringing up structural adjustments. Tell folks about the IMF and World Bank.
Okay, well, the IMF and the World Bank, they loan money to third world nations, but debtor nations, nations that have whose currency is devalued and has reached the point where the United States has reached now, where we have to borrow money just to pay down the interest on our debt.
And the countries are deliberately maneuvered into that. That's come out in mainstream news for decades.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that's a result of this is that our representatives have been taken captive by this by treaty. And therefore, if we want to pay down our debt, or at least even the interest on it, our representatives are forced to include these structural adjustment programs, which if you read down them, you can go to the World Bank site or the IMF site, and they are listed there.
It's shock therapy, all of it. It's the whole New World Order agenda. The countries are under a banking dictatorship. Yes, we should do more stories on that. We have covered it. I've actually made films on it. And no, it's all public. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they tell the countries, take the guns, break up the families, devalue your currency, take on more debt, give us your infrastructure for nothing. And they're loaning them fiat SDRs. That's why they signed us on to the trillions and derivatives that aren't even our debt, is so they can tell us that we're in debt to these people. Absolutely. It's amazing. Very interesting. Listen, call the number. Here's the problem. We have a 1-800 line that we don't answer during the day for the orders, but then when it rolls over, you get our people here. So I haven't had time yet to tell the operators that are here in Austin as well, hey, give people a free PrisonPlanet.tv membership if they can't afford it. I mean, I don't want people that can't afford a PrisonPlanet.tv membership. As long as I'm able to pay for the bandwidth, which we are right now, my goal is just to get people to see the nightly news and the films and to show it to friends and family. If you call by this afternoon or by tomorrow, because I've got to develop a system and then I've got to make sure it's announced right or it'll cause a problem. And then we can get it where if you can't afford a PrisonPlanet.tv membership, you can call here and we will give you one. The people that are members know they're doing it to support the overall operation, that 90+% of it's free. And so we just have to make money to fund ourselves. The money is not the goal. The money is the fuel, is the sails on the ship that get us to destination liberty, freedom harbor, independence, freedom, consciousness, free will, not synthetic consciousness. That's the great jewel. That's the great object. The money is wind in the sails, and I do not want poor people ever basically donating to this broadcast. We used to have money bombs and things. We developed other ways to raise the capital here. It's about people that have given. But we've set it up in a free market system where you get one of the best water filters out there at the lowest price, like ProPure with the G2 filters, and help the broadcast and help yourself. See, I believe in win-wins. Let me just do this. Let me just read headlines now that I haven't gotten to, and then I'll go right to your calls. Let me read a few here because some stations just joined us that are too insane to believe but are true. And I'm sending reporters there today. I'm going to send Joe Biggs and Don Salazar today down there. Feds to open $50 million resort for illegal children, complete with tennis courts, saunas, and pools. That's 3 hours away from Austin. And this is nicer than most of the places I've lived in my life. So pretty incredible. Kidnappings are exploding all over the U.S., but the Mexican drug cartels, I mean, it's just the destabilization of America. You don't think the globalists just want to destabilize other countries, do you? They want to destabilize this nation. And then George Soros brags that he started with $5 billion State Department dollars, the Ukrainian overthrow of an elected government. And you're supposedly a pro-Russia traitor in the media if you don't support the start of World War III. I mean, if you don't support basically suicide. And the world is faced by the madness of the elite. I said I'd go to your phone calls. I just can't get to these news articles. I mean, I read this. It's like the illegals, and I'm not even against the illegals, but it's an incentive. Its flypaper has sugar on it or has a enticement on it, just like a mousetrap or rat trap has cheese on it or a little piece of tuna or a little bit of peanut butter. And so I don't dislike the poor humans coming in here who are desperate, fleeing a deeper level of globalist collapse and control. They're coming in wanting the cheese. And the trap won't slap down on them for a long time because the trap's going to slap onto all of us. It's the old analogy of deer hunting. When that spike comes out and you're 8 years old and he's following some doe and you raise your rifle up to shoot it and Dad says, shh, no. There's a big buck, I guarantee you, out there waiting. You want a trophy. And again, it's not even about killing the animal or getting the meat or whatever. It's the ritual of being a human out hunting. It activates your instincts. That's why it feels good. It's why you want to do it. The collective memories, the epigenetics. And then you wait, and then sure enough, here comes out that big buck and you get him. You know, that big 12-point or whatever with that big rack. And that's what they want. They want to get us all. That's why they kill us slow with the ambient soft kill. I'm ranting. I'm not going to get to the news then. I mean, look at this. UK police arrest 660 suspected pedophiles. National Crime Agency detains suspected child abusers, including doctors, teachers, and takes more than 400 children into care. They're only doing this now. Overall, even the police don't probably know this. They're compartmentalized. And I predicted this would come, to force England into the EU because UKIP's about to pull them out. And so this is all being allowed to be brought out selectively now in an inner fight between different power structures because this has been going on forever. And by the way, they're just going to burn some low-level people that are having sex with little kids, and they should. They should be executed, but in my view. But the point is, you can't trust the overall top of the pyramid to carry it out because it's only burning small people. They don't just rape children over there. They kill them. They kill them everywhere. Hell, they kill 53 million of them here. Let's go to your calls here. I mean, that's just the stacks of this news. I mean, I've got hundreds of articles like this of just the manifest evil. And they've got prime ministers over there just slitting throats of little kids. I mean, it is unbelievable. Let's go ahead and talk to Philip in California. You're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing?
I'm not doing too good envisioning. Go ahead.
I want to say welcome to Orwell's best novel that he never wrote.
Yeah, we're living it, brother.
And I was also wanting to say is the current war happening with Russia and Ukraine, you think that's the final chess piece in their board game?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they're following Brzezinski's plan to a T, so they have it in the plan that they're prepared to have a nuclear war with Russia as well, which is what the deviants want. I mean, people don't understand. They might do it. I mean, they're that evil if we're not able to restrain them. I mean, it's... People ask, what is the limit evil goes to? Absolute sub-zero. Absolute maximum. Whatever it can do.
Then we have Jen Psaki saying Russia's bombing its own town.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in the stack. The State Department says that Russia launched a false flag on itself. I think that's very healthy. And they might have. You know, governments do that. Probably not. but may have. It's just that Russia wants the moral high ground, not because Russia's even good at the top. They understand that's where the real power is at. It's a more sophisticated system. But, I mean, the NATO launched fake chemical attacks and got caught. So they're the prime suspect to be doing stuff like this. By the way, we've got some amazing breaking news after I go to phone calls. I've got to go to phone calls first, but it's up on Infowars.com. Controlling the narrative. Woman calls Cheney a war criminal, C-SPAN cuts feed. And they're doing this more and more. When Pelosi had it brought up to her about the NSA a month or so ago, we had the young man on, teenager. He just asked her polite questions about it and pointed out that she'd been lying. They weren't going to release that to him, even though they were making a documentary with him. And they said in the memo, well, we don't want to upset Pelosi. These are public events. This is what C-SPAN covers. This is what happens. This is a big deal. Because we know the corporate media does this stuff, but this is C-SPAN. While they hold out that they're not like that. And Brian Lamb, to his credit, is very upset about it. He talked about it in the news. But he doesn't control C-SPAN anymore. And this ties into the EAS and Obama's kill switch that we're going to talk about after we take calls. But they're doing it. And then next is cutting me off. And believe me, we deal with government-sponsored hacks, denial of services, harassment you wouldn't believe to bring you this broadcast. People say, oh, I better not fight the system. Folks, we're a major capital ship in this fight against the tyrants. We're a big target up front, okay? They got their guns on us. There are so many people fighting tyranny now that most people encounter no opposition at this point. That's why the battle is so hot right now, is the globalists know they've got us burning. They're burning worse right now. They just hope they can wreck the whole system, pose as saviors, and grab victory from the jaws of defeat. It's just such an epic time to be alive. I just keep pausing, just in my mind, it's just pounding epic, 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 epic. And it's such an age of new media and a return of journalism. We've got a special report coming up tomorrow about Matt Drudge. It's going to be very powerful. We're going to air. What's the schedule tomorrow? Who we got on tomorrow? Because I want to find a space to air it. It's about 12 minutes long so far. It's a condensed report from his speech in '98. Everything he said came true. Just exactly as he said it would. A true folk hero, true trailblazer. It's just exciting. I mean, I'm excited about reality. Let's go to Carl in Washington. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello, Alex. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for holding, brother. Go ahead.
The globalist New World agenda is advancing. And if they have to get rid of people like you and me, the people that are true patriots, the people that are freedom-loving individuals.
People that aren't suicidal, people that like healthy, happy families and who like nice, farms and who never get tired of a cheeseburger and never get tired of being nice to people and never get tired of playing poker with their buddies. We're the type of people that don't want to kidnap kids and torture them to death. We're the type of folks that don't like abortion. We're the type of folks that like being able to defend ourselves. You mean those type of folks?
Yeah, that's a terrorist. Yeah,
terrorists. Yeah, yeah. People that don't commit crimes, people you can trust, people that are honorable, people that are good. Yeah, the bad guys. Yeah. Oh, you mean us? Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. The other day you were reporting on the train that derailed in Mexico, and there was 1,000 individuals or more that happened to be all over the train.
The death train, 1,300. Yeah.
Right. Well, take that train, multiply it by 3 or 4 per day, and that's what's coming into the United States.
Actually, I looked it up. It's more than a dozen major cargo trains with people on them a day.
There you go. I just wanted to kind of give you an advance of really what's happening. We're talking multi-millions of individuals coming into this country with open borders. And
oh, yeah. I mean, every town in the country's being told prepare to house them. And then they're going to be a political football that gets kicked back and forth. I mean, look, our fate is these people's fate, okay? In fact, I get sick when I look at these people and how desperate they are and that we have to try to shut the border down on them. But everything's going to go down. It's just, in the end, when this thing falls, man, it's going to be blood in the streets. And people are going to line up, and they're going to accept sterilization, you name it, for food. It is just going to be hellish, absolutely hellish.
I agree with you, Alex. I have nothing against the people that are in war-torn areas, that are actual refugees that need a place to come to, that we should be compassionate.
But they're being organized by the globalists, and so they're a weapon, and the lifeboat can't take them under the welfare system. It's designed to sink us.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
I judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com.
That's why the nanny state doesn't want any of you to ever go through a process of maturing and to go through those rites of passage, to be children your entire lives. It's said that you're once the man, twice the child, and I've certainly seen that borne out in my life and those I've loved. But under the New World Order, you are never a man. You are never a woman. You never mature. You never have the rites of passage. You're robbed of everything. I got to get to the news, so let's hurry through your calls, which is kind of an oxymoron for my show sometimes. Truth Raider in Oregon, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Alex Jones, the disc jockey that plays classic American patriotic hits.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Like that. Anyway, hey, I have an idea for you. Why don't you open the phones for Native Americans only and get their take on the North American Union and the merger with Mexico?
I agree with you. We should do more where we say, we're taking calls from Obama supporters, or we're taking calls from Native Americans, or we're taking calls from active Tea Party participants, or we're taking calls from doctors and nurses on Obamacare. What's it like? What's the strain? Or we're taking calls from Border Patrol. I know they're listening. Or, things like that. And that's when we have our best callers, is when we do that. And so I need to tell the crew to start pressuring me and reminding me, because I really produce the show overall, decide what's going to happen and go on, but they feed me a lot of info, so they're big participants, like we're making dinner together or something here. It's kind of the analogy. So it's a team effort, but I need them to nudge me, into plugging sponsors so we have money to operate, and into, hey, let's do more designed shows that are better. Because they are better when I think things out and try to actually, order things in a better fashion. So that's a great idea.
They are the true traditional voice of America.
Well, they're the original Homeland Security. And again, people have romanticized Native Americans, very diverse groups, obviously, from the Lords of the Plains to the Indians up in Canada and the natives. But undoubtedly, they have been through the system. As the late Russell Means said, welcome to the reservation, you're all on it. And then he discovered, which I knew, that a large part of the Constitution and the setup did come from the Iroquois Confederation. That is true. And some of it, the Cherokee had it as well, similar system. So, I mean, we adopted a lot of it. That is what's made America so great. There is a richness of diversity. Great points. Thanks for the call. I mean, Western culture is Spanish mixed with frontier and mixed with black and Creole and Native American. It's a very rich culture. I like it. The globalists don't want Hispanics to adopt their culture of family values and private property and self-defense and manly men, womanly women. And no, they want them to adopt communism, the New World Order. It's totally the opposite of what you would expect to be in the Southwest or in Mexico. This is what they're saying. Your culture is this. Just like everybody else is told, this is your culture. And if you look at the rest of the country, the reason the U.S. is so interesting is it does have all of those different things mixed into it. It's one reason Australia is interesting, is it was a prison colony. And used to, you got sent to prison for no reason, basically, in England most of the time, or because you couldn't pay your debts. And they took people there by the hundreds of thousands as slave labor. And did anybody know that they wore, cowboy hats and the whole 9 yards and had cattle drives? Open free range until the 60s when it was banned. Like, I saw online an old beer commercial from Australia about the last cattle drive. I need to find that again and play that. But the whole point is that that's a rich culture because it was from slaves. I mean, Australia had work camps in it, folks, where you got killed if you talked back. And it doesn't lessen blacks' plights. It's just, it makes it a fraternity, a camaraderie, not a shameful thing that you were slaves. Hell, all our ancestors were slaves. They just didn't call it that. I mean, Germany didn't outlaw indentured servitude, permanent slavery. Neo-feudalism is what they're bringing back. It was feudalism. Germany until 1888, the last Austrian-Hungarian county or kingdom, they had little dukes and duchesses and counts over dozens of little confederations. You've seen the neat little German shields. One's a bear for Berlin, bear rampant, I think, and then another one's an elk or another's a boar. I mean, that was it. And they bred Germans to sell them for war. And they weren't slaves with a chain around their neck. They were so mind-controlled, and their uniforms and their Hessian boots, they were happy to go die. Until they got over here, and a lot of them defected. And they said, you mean I can have a farm? There's Germans living here. I can marry an English woman if I want. I can do whatever. I can marry a Dutch woman. I can marry an Indian woman. I can just do whatever I want. Yeah, come on over here with us. Let's go. That's what that's all about. They'll never make a movie about that because then black people won't feel like that they're crap when they learn that the Germans from Prussia were slaves. It's just all fraud. It's all lies. It's all fake cosmologies they download into us that we then just spend our whole lives believing. Let's go ahead and talk to Michael in FEMA Region 9. I guess that's out there on the former Pacific Northwest. Where are you? In former Oregon, Washington State, Idaho? Where are you?
Hey, hello, Alex. Nice talking to you again. Actually, Arizona, up in the mountains.
Okay.
After my statement and your response, I got a real quick question for you.
Go ahead.
My statement is, I remember when I was a little kid seeing Nixon on the TV in black and white talking about Cambodia and his impeachment and Watergate and all that. And, I was starting to become awake when I was 6, 8 years old. And through the 70s, 80s, 90s, it kept building. I did my time in the military and whatnot during the Cold when the wall came down in Berlin. And what I want to say is, my point is that I believe with the buildup of the people that are becoming awake because of people like you, who I met through Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theorist. I saw you on his show, and I said, who's this Alex Jones guy? So I looked you up, and I've been following you ever since then. And I believe with the acceleration, the exponential acceleration of people becoming awake, that the government or the New World Order has ramped things up as well. I believe because they're listening to us, and they're saying, oh, wow, we got more on our hands than we thought.
Oh, listen, I'm not even allowed to say what happened with the show. And people say, well, why don't you tell us? Because then no one would tell me anything. But I'm not even allowed to say it wasn't just FEMA. It wasn't just Congress. It wasn't just Homeland Security. It wasn't just... I'm not allowed to talk about it. It's just this country's in deep trouble, folks. Okay? And there's a reason Jesse doesn't do that show anymore. And he's in this trial right now to try to get his name back for that PSYOP they ran, and then they weren't able to shut the PSYOP down when Ventura exposed it, so they greased Kyle. Kyle was a good guy, I think, overall, but he did lie about Ventura. That's all totally made up, so they had to get rid of him up there in Dallas. And I mean, you don't believe that story that a guy with PTSD went out there and just shot him at a shooting range, do you? I mean, anybody really believe that? And I'm real sad for Chris Kyle. I'm real sad for his family. It was like Opie and Anthony. A couple days after that statement was made and that came out on Fox News, I was on their show and I said, listen, Ventura's going to sue everybody. This is not a joke. I mean, I'm the one that called Ventura in Mexico. He had to go into town so I could talk to him. I mean, he's a real guy. Totally real. From Minnesota, down to earth, just wants to smoke cigars and fish all day and surf and stuff. I mean, you know, he got very upset. Not that somebody said they beat him up, but that he said he was glad Navy SEALs died. I mean, I've seen Jesse Ventura get tears in his eyes when he sees vets at the airport with their arms and legs blown off. And he goes over to him and says, that's why I'm against these wars. Look what happened to you. I mean, these people want to take your honor away. And all Ventura can do is sue, by the way, and they've got an insurance policy, and he's going to go after News Corp after that because he can't let them go around saying he wants Navy SEALs dead. They tried to throw him out of the Navy SEAL Society, folks. Because of that. Lie. And if they can get him, they can get anybody. I didn't mean to digress. What was your point? You had another question?
Well, my point was, you know, I love your guests as much as I love you and all your staff, and they're saying this is going to happen in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, but I think it's going to be 2, 3, 4 years because the New World Order is watching how fast we're progressing. Be awake. You put the dots on the I's and the crosses on the T's for me. That's what I'm saying. I've been awake since I was 6 years old, didn't realize what that was. That's my point. And I still have a question.
No, I hear you. I think they've accelerated their timetable. In fact, I don't think, I know. Look at it. I mean, it's there. It's like how you know when the salmon are running because they're going up the river. I mean, it's how do you know when the cold front's blowing in because it's blowing in. I mean, it's there. It's prima facie, which I guess in Latin means on its face. On its face. Open and shut. What's the question, brother?
Okay, quick question. I'm sure the millions of listeners out there, and I love all of you brothers and sisters. I love your new studio. When are you going to go full-time there?
You know, I've had a bunch of deaths in the family and a bunch of other hell breaking loose that I'm not going to get into. Later, I'll talk about it. And I just have not had the energy and the time. But we're moving into there, and I just need to just start making decisions about where to put it on television, what to do. It's mainly me. I've been holding things up because, I mean, I won't even spend time to cut new ads or try to make money. You know, it's just because I'm so, not even during the headlights now. It's just I have a bigger understanding of things now. And things are so complex, but also so simple that it's like I almost can't even talk sometimes now because it's just like, again, I liken it to you're doing work at your neighbor's house and a panel comes back and there's dead kids and, you know, barrels. I mean, those are true stories that have happened to people. And you just fall down. I mean, you're just like, blah, 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 blah. And then the crime is committed and no one gets in trouble. I mean, it's that next level of opening Jeffrey Dahmer's refrigerator and there's dead people in it and he didn't get in trouble. Well, he did get in trouble. And then he got beat to death in prison. Justice came to him. But the globalists don't get in trouble. They just sit there. I mean, hundreds of people by name have been written about in the Wall Street Journal who were begging not to be killed in hospitals. I mean, they had death panels 20 years ago. And I've got to sit here and debate whether there were death panels in the legislation. I mean, at a certain point, do we just sit here and talk about this? And they're like, no, start a civil war. That's what they want. Well, no, we don't want to do that. And it's just like a joke. It's like a joke when I pull up to some checkpoint downtown and they want to search me. I'm just like, it's ridiculous. The border's wide open. What you're doing is illegal. Don't shoot your kids up with the vaccines, cops. You know, I'll be on the elevator in a hotel somewhere. I'll just start telling people that have kids, or I'll see a pregnant woman. I'll go, listen, I'm tired. Don't want to get in your business, but I got to tell you, you better look into vaccines. You better look into iodine deficiency and deformities. A lot of those people say, no, thank you. Thank you for your, caring. I just, man, I'm sorry I'm ranting here. I'm not even really ranting. I'm mainly poleaxed is the word. I'm stunned. They say John on the island of Patmos marveled at the beast system. And that's really it. I mean, it's just like, what? It's really that bad? And it is. And it's so much more evil than I can even grasp. And I've got one of probably the biggest grasp on this of anybody. And let me tell you, it ain't fun, folks, seeing all the propaganda, understanding it to a deep level, where just everything is like hammering me with data, hammering me with 10, 20 levels into something. And then no way with verbal repertoire, with a lexicon, to be able to describe it. One cannot be told about the Matrix. You got to see it. You got to take the red pill. You got to decide you want to know reality. I think that's what it comes down to, folks. It's stuff so obvious now and so evil now and so metastasizing now, galloping, raging evil, a spirit that is very hard to resist. I think that's it, is that this spirit, even if you don't believe in spirits, like at a pep rally, you feel the spirit, feel the energy. This energy is so strong, ladies and gentlemen, that it's hard for me to resist it. You understand? It's that strong, and it's getting stronger. These are the times that try men's souls. These are they. The ultimate weapon with the decadence and the entertainment, all is a shield, all is a cloak for the real operation going on, so you don't get scared, you don't think anything's going on. People need to be upset. People need to be freaking out. People need to be hitting their knees and asking God for guidance and repenting. But you can't go to these churches. They're government-run, FBI, CIA agents, almost every church. It's on record. Clergy response teams bringing in the illegals, telling wives to divorce their husbands, saying Jesus isn't the Messiah. And people say, how dare you talk bad about Hagee? That's how controlled people are. I mean, it is just like hardcore.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
And I'm not going to break this now. I'm going to have Watson or one of them do a story, but they're about to leave and go down there. What we just discovered is so sensational. I mean, it just gets crazier by the minute. If I say it now, it won't be big. So I want an article about this. Obviously, the guys are going down there. But we got to have an article separately about this. This is incredible. See, I'm torn. I want to be in there planning this. Instead, I'm in here on the air, and I want to tell everybody. I mean, this country is so screwed up, man. I mean, it makes you laugh. It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top. Oh. Let's go to Dave in Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding. Go ahead.
Yes, Alex, I have a suggestion. I was wondering if it would be at all possible if you could please bring back the Obama phone lady to hear her comments about this latest strategy.
I said that. I said it months ago. Guys, call the Obama phone lady. I don't have the crew to get all this done. We need to get her flown back up here right now, pay her to come up here. Lovely lady. And bring her up here next week, because I never got the Obama deception out. There's this incredible interview with her. I should probably just release that by itself, the new Obama deception. I should just release what I have. It's better than nothing. And it's incredible. She was already turning against Obama 6 months ago, a year ago. So imagine now how awake she'll be. Genius idea, sir.
Yeah, because I remember last year even that you were planning on releasing that documentary the end of last year.
Yeah, and so now I can't basically release the film because I got to make a whole new one, which is probably what needs to be done. I need to get into brainstorm mode, lock myself here for 2 weeks. I made Obama Deception that's been seen 50, 60, 70 million. I mean, no exaggeration, probably 70 million times. You know, Produce Loose Change, it got seen over 100 million. But the point is that, not bragging, it just shows the power of the people. Absolutely, I need to just lock myself in with all the stuff we've got, reshoot my part, and just put the stinking film out. I mean, I've never started stuff and not finished it. It's just I've bitten off so much more than I can chew, and things have been going on that I just haven't gotten a lot of projects done. They kind of piled up.
Really hit upon a good point about people waking up out here, because back on Memorial Day, I was at my sister's house for a Memorial Day party, and her daughter, my niece, has a boyfriend. He's like in his early 20s, and asked me the question, how much longer do you think they can continue the illusion?
Absolutely. What else is on your mind, sir?
I mean, that to myself was incredible to hear that come out of the mouth of a young person like that, you know?
Do you think the awakening is explosive or just systematic?
I think it's explosive across the board, because people out here are not as dumb or as stupid as the New World Order would expect us to be.
Well, people are either awake or they're getting dumber. I mean, you see a separation from the wheat from the chaff. Interesting points. Thank you so much. The story up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com is down the left-hand side of DrudgeReport.com. We're going to cover it after more calls. Armed Homeland Security agents and community outreach, that's close quote, to, quote, let people know they're in the area. Acclamation. It's a rollout of martial law. They just won't tell you that's what it is. Feds out in force to remind residents about snitch program. Hi, we're paramilitary federal police, and we'd like you to tell us if anything suspicious is going on. Yeah, we have a criminal government that's opened the borders up. Wide open. In fact, I want to shoot a special report for the Nightly News tonight on this, and I'm going to do a tongue-in-cheek piece on, well, I'm going to call Homeland Security up and for real and report them. So when I say it's a spoof or a stunt, it's not really. I mean, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm here to report that the feds are aiding and abetting and completing the smuggling process. Oh, man, I tell you, what a joke. Cop pulls me over. Mind if I search your car? Or did you have anything to hide? Or I'll go, well, yeah, I live in an authoritarian country where they arrest women whose 9-year-old daughters play across the street at the park and then take the girl away from them. Yeah, I'm really worried about you. Not that you're probably a bad person, but, man, you work for some really dangerous people. I'm scared of you. And maybe you like that, but you think that's a safe country? Tony in Ohio, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, Alex, this is Tony. I'm in Idaho.
Idaho, I'm sorry.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about the way these government preachers and these government churches are getting the very people to stand down who have the power to stop this. It's by the false teaching that Jesus didn't come when he prophesied that he would come in the first century. He said to those people, he says, really, I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
And then people say it was Titus sacking Rome in 70 A.D. You know, I don't know if I agree with that interpretation. You know, there have been many antichrists. There are smaller versions of the bigger version. Things repeat themselves in cycles. So I think it's more sophisticated than that. But I don't want to get into an argument with you about that. I know this. You go to mega churches, and those people are eyeing you as operatives, and this is on record. It's not my opinion. And they're there to suppress and control. They're social engineers. And that's now mainstream news. But the flocks don't know it. I've got a buddy out by the lake that has a preacher I've had dinner with who's a listener who totally gets it and is on fire and knows what he's talking about. And I ought to go to that church. It's just like 45 minutes from where I live, or an hour if there's traffic. But I'm going to start taking my children there because that guy's on fire. But it's just, and that's a great blessing because I haven't found really many good preachers around here. I mean, I'll go to funerals for people that die, and the preacher will come over and like try to mess with me. you know, telling me I'm full of baloney and everything. I'm just like, come on, man, come on. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, Alex. Let me just make 2 quick points, please. Christ said to the people that were standing around listening.
By the way, I'm sorry. Titus sacked Jerusalem in 70 A.D. Rome was sacked in 410 by Alaric. Again, I'm tired. I scramble things. Go ahead, sir.
Anyway, he said to the people that were standing around listening to him teach, he says, "Verily I say unto you, there be some of them that stand here that shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man come in his kingdom with power." Those people are dead. They're not standing around waiting for him to come.
Well, they're saying that's the generation when Israel is reestablished, is the interpretation that debates that generation will not die from 1947 or 1949, depending on how you look at it, before the return of Christ.
He said to Caiaphas, now this is Caiaphas, a high priest of that generation.
Well, listen, I don't debate that rapture theology is used to make everybody celebrate the takeover of evil, as Christians sit on their giant butts doing nothing, serving Satan at the right hand. But this story is very important up on Infowars.com. Controlling the narrative, woman calls Cheney war criminal, C-SPAN cuts the feed. And I mentioned this earlier, but I want to play a clip of this. And people ask, well, then if they cut the feed, how did that happen? People shot it then on a phone. But the feed got cut. They admit they cut the feed. And under that, we have a video report. Obama has been given kill switch to the entire media system. That is not just a kill switch for the internet. It's the kill switch for your phones, you name it. Like the headline is, Obama has been given the kill switch to the entire communication system. And that is absolutely on target and absolutely right. And it's very, very important. But here is a short clip. I mean, this is the beginning of the end of the new media, if they're able to do this. Chinese-style net censorship, you name it. And it's incredible that C-SPAN did this. Here's the woman calling Dick Cheney a war criminal that C-SPAN doesn't want you to see.
4 more years.
I was chatting with the vice president backstage, and I was saying, I bet that never gets old. Yeah. And he said, keeps me in business. Right
so, then they cut the feed. How you like that? And they cut to the outside of the Capitol. Why don't they want that? It's a bigger deal than people know. The globalists, I guarantee you, don't like it. Brian Lamb, who I'm not saying is a bad guy, years ago talked about in an interview how horrible it was that my listeners were dominating C-SPAN, calling in constantly. And he also talked about in another interview about my radio show and how scary it is. And I can tell Brian Lamb has nice, compassionate eyes, seems very intelligent. I've watched Washington Journal back when he used to host it. I like his work. You could tell Brian Lamb was freaked out 10 years ago when he was talking about me. He doesn't talk about me now. Because, you hear this stuff, it should freak you out. Because if I'm right, well, that means we're in a lot of trouble, doesn't it? Well, of course I'm right. I mean, they're teaching 2 + 2 = 5 in the schools, folks. You don't have to believe me. I'm not the one that's right. It's prima facie. It's on the face. It's like saying red wine's red, folks. It is. It's like saying Mike Tyson's a boxer. It is. George Washington's a general. It is. Ducks are birds. It is. It is a tyranny. It is oppressive. It is totalitarian. Toto. That's William Binney, number 4 at the National Security Agency. There is an authoritarian population control system going on. And if people dominate live events, I mean, if you go in when Hillary Clinton's at a book signing and confront her, even nicely, it'll freak her out. If it happens everywhere, she'll break down. These narcissist control freak demons are scared of us. We need to put pressure on them so they know that we're not scared of their intimidation, and it's making us come out of the woodwork peacefully against them. You need to do everything. I mean, go bullhorn outside their houses. I mean, they're funding Al-Qaeda to kill Christians all over the world. Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. We're going to be intensifying our efforts to awaken free humanity to the scourge of the globalist in the month of July. And starting this July 4th, we are going to slash prices in a celebration of true Americana, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence on all of the Made in America products that you will find at madein1776.com or InfoWarsStore.com. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in brass and nickeled brass that state it loud and proud. Molon Labe. That's why we have the best-selling Made in America men's and women's Molon Labe Infowars.com shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a win-win. You vote with your dollars. You support the most hardcore organization out there for promoting true ideas of libertarianism, constitutionalism, basic human empowerment. But more importantly, you get T-shirts and belt buckles so you can meet like-minded people. So you have a conversation starter with friends and family and coworkers. We are reaching out to each other. And you also throw it in the face of the anti-gunners and the rest of the parasites out there that you're a free man and woman and that you're not going to be a slave, that you're not going to be intimidated to shut up by their tyranny that they call political correctness. That's why in the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at madein1776.com. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the biggest special in the history, 13 years of PrisonPlanet.tv, our multimedia platform. We're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at PrisonPlanet.tv, and you get 11 memberships that can be used with the same username and passcode so you can share it with friends and family. Now is the time to fund the war bonds. Now is the time to fund the InfoWar. Now is the time to get aggressive. Now is the time to double down. Now is the time to realize you are the people that made the InfoWar so successful and one of the leading lights worldwide against tyranny. You don't stand behind us, you stand right beside us, and I salute all of you on this July 4th, 2014, and going forward in the month of July and onward. This is about freedom worldwide and that desire for human dignity and self-determination that beats in the human breast. We are brothers and sisters together in the true spirit of liberty and the animating contest of liberty. And so I quote in closing the great Thomas Jefferson that I have sworn on the altar of God resistance against every form of tyranny. And never forget, if you are watching or listening to this transmission, you are the resistance.